And the coordinated effort between and among the homeless centers, what Jay Zaney has done is coordinated the homeless centers with the help volunteers. Sherry Dolan and Paul Colomb of Baker Donaldson has done a tremendous job through the Pro Bono Project. And they have coordinated with Ronald Lampard, the clerk of municipal court, and the 4 judges of municipal court, Judge Sens in Section A, Judge Early in Section B, Judge Charbonnet in Section C, and Judge Landry in Section D, to pay particular attention, I guess is the best way to do it, to these folks that come in the homeless courts. But the process is this, that has been set up. Once that person answers, yes, I am homeless, yes, I have an attachment in municipal court, they go on a list. The homeless shelter notifies Ronald Lampard, clerk of municipal court. He pulls the cases that those individuals have. Yes, their attachments. We make a list. We send it back to he sends it back to Paul Colomb, I think is the contact at Donaldson Baker, and I'm sorry, Baker Donaldson, and that list is then those folks, I should say, are put on a transport van the 3rd Wednesday of the month. The lawyer shows up, Mr. Colomb. The homeless people from the shelter show up. You got the public defender there. You got the city attorney there. You got the court there. And all of them so far, there's only been 9, but all of them have qualified for the homeless court, and all of them have been resolved to the satisfaction of the individuals involved. When I say resolved, there's obviously many resolutions or many possible outcomes to a municipal court charge, but generally, if the individual has pled guilty and was previously sentenced to pay a fine, was unable to pay that fine, and that was the reason why he or she did not come back to court, that fine is generally converted to community service, where that homeless person can satisfy his or her debt to the community, to society, get the community service performed, get the case closed, go on with life.
So it's not just like $200 or 20 days. A person has this option of doing a little community service, and then they're straight with everybody.
Alternative sentencing is big in municipal court. All of the judges rely upon alternative sentencing very heavily. We, I believe the number I've heard is over $1 million a year in community service.
Wow.
People who come through municipal court give back to the city of New Orleans.
Okay, well, that's great.
So,
it's just you have people with no money, but they're still giving something back.
Correct.
And paying their debt by helping out the city.
Correct.
And, okay, then when, you talk about homeless people, and we said mentally ill, and we said homeless, but the other thing, when you get into this community, I'm wondering, what about issues concerning like alcoholism, drug addiction? Do people come in from the homeless community because they're so advanced in their alcoholism, for instance, that they just can't maintain themselves? And how does that interface work for you?
Russell, I have a 3-ring binder I keep on my bench every day, and it's called my resource book. And we direct people to alcohol treatment, drug abuse treatment. We find homes through Unity and that type of thing. We direct them to GED programs. It's really a not that the criminal justice system should be used as a resource guide, but I use a resource guide to direct those folks, because part of the sentence is trying not only to have the defendants understand what they did wrong, but to better themselves. And that is one of the things that I think the homeless court and municipal court in general aims for. And that is, once they get their attachment recalled, they become, as I say, part of the community. They can then go get an ID or a driver's license. They can then apply for a job and really get back into the mainstream of society, which is really the objective of I think, municipal court at that level.
Right.
And it's, some of the stories are so sad where people, just because they had an attachment out, are homeless. They cannot get a job because they're afraid to go, or when they do go to apply for a job, they say, well, I can't put you on the job because as soon as the police find you, they're going to arrest you and take you to jail. So it's much better to address it in the front end so the employers do not hire that individual. And now with the homeless court, they're able to come in, take care of their legal businesses, and then move on with life and get a job and really become a productive citizen. That's our hope.
And so even, let's say if a person weren't even totally homeless, but they're just very indigent and they feel like they owe the court a lot of money or something, would you say then they should come in and the municipal court is not going to be trying to squeeze blood out of turnips, so to speak.
Alternative sentencing is alive and well in municipal court.
Yeah.
We have community service programs. We have various, local agencies that need volunteer hours, and so that's where we send them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm seeing this a lot, particularly in Jefferson Parish. Some of the court costs and the contempt fines and so on are high, and people wind up thousands and thousands of dollars on the books that really they're probably never, ever going to be able to pay, as far as I can see. And they become this kind of petty outlaw. I mean, they're really excluded. They have no driver's licenses. They can't get jobs. They can't get background checks for any kind of decent apartment. And they really, it's amazing how effectively it takes your life apart over a period of time to be outside the system, even on minor charges like traffic tickets or, some type of, littering or a small charge like that.
Right.
But I think the last time when I was in the city of Gretna, I think they're charging like $360 if you miss a payment on your ticket. And, a lot of people, cannot afford, you got 4 tickets in, it's like, $1,300, $1,400, you miss one payment. And people just get overwhelmed by it and feel like there's nothing they can do. So you're saying, at least for municipal court in New Orleans, that you're trying to work with people, let them give something back to the community with alternative sentencing so that they can feel like they did pay their debt, but you're not trying to take money from them they don't have.
Right. We're gonna, obviously, if there is an ability to pay, that's what we do.
Sure.
But if there's absolutely no ability to pay, we're not going to throw you in jail unless there's a deliberate disregard of court orders. If unfortunately the scenario goes is the individual is sentenced to pay a fine, he or she does not pay the fine in 30 days, an extension is given another 30 days, it's not paid, okay, we convert to community service, give them 2 bites at that apple, they don't do it. And I tell everyone, I put no one in jail. They put themselves in jail. At that scenario, I tell them, my hands are tied, I have nothing left to offer you other than incarceration. And unfortunately, at that point, they go to jail.
Wow. Yeah, sure.
But generally, we like to work with the folks to keep them out of jail through the alternative sentencing of municipal court.
And I've done a lot, particularly over the last 10 years, in courts involving traffic and municipal charges for people that have just, especially a lot of people, they get in their late 20s, early 30s, they get that first baby and a good job, and something all of a sudden they got to deal with it. And that's something that's people that maybe were wild when they were young, and I am amazed at how fearful people are of approaching the system, and how they really feel like they just can't, come through the door. And you're saying it's okay that they're going to be all right if they want to work with the system. You're going to try to work with them the best you can.
I tell them all the time, it's a lot better if you come through the front door in street clothes than through the back door in an orange jumpsuit.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
And it's just so simple, and folks don't understand that. So everybody out there, your listening audience, please do not fear coming to municipal court and taking care of your business.
Well, I got one of my favorite members of my listening audience on here right now, Mama D. Hello, Mama D.
Yeah, I know I had to call, baby.
Hey, good to hear from you. We got Judge Landry here today.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing
you all
great,
right, baby?
Mama D. Yes.
God bless you.
Thank you.
And I've worked around you in that system long enough to know that. See, that's the problem I have. That's why y'all see me so often. And I'm glad to hear you on here telling this to the community. Because the biggest thing is fear. The Mama, I got no money. I say, well, you can go sit back there with no money, or you can come and we can go through this front door. I mean, what they can do, you put you in jail for not having funds. And yes, I have been a part of the community service. That community service has allowed young men in my community to come and do things for the community while they maintain their jobs and paid their rent and fed their 4 children. So that is, and I'm glad to hear you discussing that today. Because, when it gets piled up and piled up and piled up, then you create that permanent homeless, and creates a lot of mental illness because they go to extremes with the fear. That's just because I'm going to give you a good example, and I'm not going to sleep till I get something done. I have a child who was an honor student at John Mack. I mean, beautiful young man.